very interesting to me in regards to taxation. And the reason why it's really interesting to me is because I'm a businessman. I've owned my own company since I was 26 years old. And some of the biggest issues of the Republican Party is they're not really addressing the blue-collar worker. Okay, the quality of life of blue-collar workers. If you raise the taxes on companies, if you raise the taxes on corporations, what happens? You raise the taxes on me, what am I going to do? I'm going to raise my cost of services and goods to you.
That's not what they should do.
That's not greed.
No, that's not greed. That is just simple economics in the free marketplace. I'm going to pass the cost of my company on to the people that I am
It's
servicing.
not the cost, though. It's the profit.
Tax it.
You don't tax them. No.
Okay, hold on. If you allow the free marketplace to flourish, which it has to circulate the money, otherwise the economy goes stagnant. If the free marketplace is allowed to flourish, then competition takes over and drives the prices down. You drive the prices up by overtaxing, by overdoing everything and chokeholding. Okay, it's greed within the free marketplace of an individual that says, I want to make $3 on this product and I want to sell 10. The other guy that's actually working the free marketplace says, I want to make 50 cents on this and I'm going to sell 150 of it. That's the free marketplace. However, it becomes extremely depressing when you're a businessman and you have to sit here and hire 25 people on your staff to deal with everything the government's shoving down your throat. The government needs to get out of it. The government needs to actually lower the taxes and lower the size of the government that's impeding our ability to actually run the free marketplace. Now you're talking about something where Bernanke and the Federal Reserve is propping up the stock market exchange. I don't go to Las Vegas. Why? Because I don't like to gamble. I'm not in the stock exchange because I don't like to gamble. It's a fixed market. They understand.
You've heard about them cooking the books.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But you're talking two different things. The stock marketplace is an actual betting on the ponies in the race, okay, of what's happening. I'm talking about the free marketplaces pertaining to the small businesses within the state of California, within the San Fernando Valley, of how do you unleash the creative minds of the individuals that are coming out of our colleges at this point.
And what do you do about the corporations where, what, 83 people own?
Corporations, you know, you're diving into the narrative that the Democrats have actually shoved down everybody's throat that corporations are terrible. I hate to say it. The only corporations I would agree on that one is global corporations.
You pay the salaries of the CEOs, but if they're billions and billions of dollars,
what CEO do you know is making billions of dollars?
Huh?
What CEO do you know that's making billions of dollars? I don't know any.
Oil companies?
No.
Oil companies' margin of profit is about 1.5 cents.
Oh, no.
The one who makes the most money out of oil and gasoline sold at your pump right now is the federal government, making 56 cents per gallon. In California, it gets 16 cents of it because Congress hasn't addressed the lion's share of how it's divided, and Sacramento hasn't either. Los Angeles gets 8 cents of the 16 cents that California gets of the 56 cents that comes out of our pocket. Taxation is no good all the way around. Taxation in the federal government and the Federal Reserve printing the money that they have printed and driven the value of our dollar down to the toilet. We're spending less now per barrel of oil, but we're paying more for fuel. The other aspect of that is getting rid of the EPA. The EPA is driving this up because how many oil refineries have you seen made in the last 40 years? None. Do you think more cars are being produced? Yes. Do you think more companies are using more oil? Yes. But yet the production of the refineries is down. It's supply and demand again. Yes.
I actually think that maybe what she's addressing without really stating it is the monopolies that are being formed by the large corporations and how they dominate the marketplace.
But that's crony capitalism, as you just expressed. It's not capitalism. Crony capitalism is when the federal government dives in and starts giving them massive subsidies like to the solar energy companies at this point. Solar energy costs 3 times the amount to produce than coal fire. Okay, wind, same thing. We're paying for it through taxation. That's that simple. It's not profitable at all, period. But crony capitalism is what's got to stop. The free marketplace has to be unleashed. This is the only way our kids from college, graduating from college, are going to have the opportunity. They had the CEO of Home Depot come out. He has to ask the simple questions. Could you start Home Depot today? He said no, he couldn't do it. Do you know why? It's not just regulations. It's because the banking industry has consolidated. All the community banks now are being sucked up by the big banks. When the CEO of Home Depot went out to actually get the capital, he had to get a certain amount of money to start this store, to pay the bills, before the store even opened. He went to the big banks. The big banks back then said, no, we don't have the money. He actually got it from the community bank. And to give you an idea of that one, I like buying houses that have gone into foreclosure. Okay, I went up to where I have a mountain house up in Oakhurst by Yosemite National Park. I have one in Yosemite National Park, but I went to the Oakhurst Community Bank. And I was actually floored. This goes back about 15 years ago, before the consolidation of the banks. I went in there and I said, I need to speak to your legal department. I love Oakhurst. It's a nice conservative town. I mean, you drove through there during the Mitt Romney Obama presidency election process, you didn't see one Obama sign. That was beautiful. It's like driving through heaven. I swear, it's like heaven right there. Versus going to Pasadena, you saw all Obama signs. Oh, God. Right? Anyway, I walk in there, I said, I need to talk to your legal department. I want to find out about your foreclosures. And they said, well, we don't have really a legal department here, and we don't foreclose. And I'm like, what? And she goes, we know all of our clients by name. We will not foreclose on our neighbors. We will work with them to get it done. I was floored because I'm coming from LA. You walk in there, you're a month late, get the hell out of here. Right? Yes.
How would you address the huge, massive monopoly that 4 corporations now have over the media that control absolutely everything we hear?
One of the things I'd like to do, because I've testified on 4 different occasions in front of the FCC on vertical integration and consolidation of the media, where 5 global corporations own 80% of everything you see, read, or hear. Because I've been involved in diversity for 20 years. Back in 1935, when the FCC was actually created, they used the word diverse, and it had nothing to do with color. It's diverse thought was supposed to be there. So that way the owners of the media couldn't own certain blocks. So that way you would get the 4 stories of the 4 corners of the wreck that happened in the intersection. And you could sit there and disseminate the information and come up with your own idea. The one thing that I was asked is, what is the biggest damaging effect of consolidation and vertical integration of our media? And I looked at him, I said, well, let me give you a quick quiz. Who's your city councilman? I don't know. Who's your state assemblyman? I don't know. Who's your state senator? I don't know. Who's your judges? I don't know. You know your mayor? Half of them get that one right. Who's your governor? Half of them get that one right. The problem the media has right now is you are no longer connected with the people who are representing you in your county offices, your state offices, or Washington, D.C. I would like to see in the FCC a mandate that all elections have to have airtime for free, so we can start getting the information we need to legitimately pick the people who are running in our local area. And that's something the FCC can do from our public channels. It needs to be done.
I've seen a lot of conservative candidates have started out on all levels conservative, but then due to practicality, their demographics, they have to start talking a little bit more moderate, sometimes even liberal sounding. This happened in the recent elections here.
Which one? 45th?
It could just be my opinion, but Kevin James, for instance, who I supported and volunteered for,
right.
But it was out of necessity during the debates.
Right.
especially on environmental issues and oil companies, you know, can you avoid those pitfalls? Is it practical? Can you sound conservative and still win?
Absolutely. Ronald Reagan did it twice.
Right.
49 out of 50 states. The
So
conservative principles that founded this great nation work in your public and private life. The problem is people are looking to the government for their basic bailouts, for their subsidies, for their kickdown, for their free things. We need to bring that away from them and get them to understand what conservative principles and values are. And you need to stay away from social issues. The social issues, yes, I mean, I'm a strong conservative. I married my childhood sweetheart. I met her at 11 years old, gave her a promise ring at 16 years old, be married at 21 years old, have my first kid at 22 years old. I have 9 grandchildren right now. I am not liberal in any fashion or way at all. But I've worked with the media in diversity for 20 years. I've sat down at extremely progressive liberal tables as the chairman of committees. And believe it or not, you can sit down, identify the problem on the table, come to a general consensus of how to fix the problem, and then come to that final solution, and you let everybody walk away from the table saying, I did it. And that's one thing progressive Democrats love to do. I did it. They take credit for everything. Like Al Gore taking the credit for inventing the internet. Barack Obama wanting to take credit for, fixing the health care. As far as I'm concerned, the healthcare industry was doing great. It was the insurance companies were screwing up. Or this capitalism you're talking about, monopolies. Okay, we have no problem with our healthcare. We have the top-notch healthcare in the world. It's the insurance companies got in the middle of it with the HMOs and everything else. Okay, and completely raping us for everything involved.
Created by government.
Created by government. Well, most of you don't know that before Obamacare, the government actually ran 60% of the health care already. That's why it was skyrocketing in cost. Through Medi-Cal, Medicaid, Medicare, the VA, and the oldest socialized medicine in America is the Indian Healthcare Services. And me being Mohawk and Apache, I know this really well. Most of the reservations have to close their clinics in June. Why? They don't have money. You can't call up anybody and get any more money. It's because it's a line item budget now. And what do? They cut it. This is what's going to happen if Obamacare stays alive, which I don't think it will.
I just wanted to expand on something you brought up, which is basically being a person with a solution.
Yes.
Be solutions oriented. People have real problems. There are real issues that they confront in their lives. Figure out what those are and come up with a Republican solution. If you come up with the solution, you even have to call it a Republican solution. It just needs to be something that works, and you're going to proceed from your principles. I'm doing that right now with parking in Los Angeles. Mark and I are talking about, he put me on the right track in a lot of ways. And as a result, because I've come up with solutions to a real problem, I'm having meetings all week at LA City Hall with people in the city government, and they're listening. And they're actually, going to take a lot of what we're proposing and make it a reality. Why? Because they're practical, they're real solutions, and damn it, people want them. And that's what Mark said. Be solutions oriented. We're too philosophical. We're too talking about our personal pet peeve about something that irritates us. Put all that aside and listen to what people need and want, and then figure out a way of solving the problem.
See, one of the things I want to aspire to as a congressman for the district, I'm not going to go in there and figure out how to, as you know, 80,000 new laws, state laws were implemented January 1st. 80,000.
He's not exaggerating.
These guys are really busy trying to screw up your liberties, let me tell you. Same thing with the federal government. I would rather be known for a congressman that goes in there and goes through all the legislation and start repealing stuff. Yes.
Yeah. I want to address a specific situation that I thought the idea of building fast trains, because we have the slowest trains in the world compared to Europe and Japan, and it seemed like the federal government was in favor of it. They put up big bill to fund that, and California, under another Democratic administration, said, it's a good idea, let's do it. And I think they've allocated like over $1 billion. That was like 5 years ago. Now, since that time, it'd be a good idea to have a fast train between LA and San Francisco or San Diego, because the traffic's jammed up and the airports are jammed up. And this, I don't know the exact figure, but it was a large amount of money. I think it's over $1 billion. So far, they've spent money on surveys and so forth, but so far, there's not 1 mile of track that's being built. It's like, where is all this money going to? I mean, this is a good project, but are you spending huge amounts of money and not 1 single mile is being built in 5
What you're
years?
doing is expressing the exact reason why the federal government should not be involved in doing things. You know, with Obamacare, they actually could have given everybody $500,000 and it was not insured, 30 million people, and we would have spent less than we've already spent trying to implement this thing. We would have spent less. Give them $500,000 apiece.
Well, is there anything like that you could do as a voice and say, either give the money back or build it? Either way, but just not hold on to the money and waste it.
This is everybody understands the definition of ignorance, right? Ignorance is not knowing. It's not stupidity. Stupidity is knowing something and not doing anything. The problem when they put bills onto the ballot, like they did with the train, great idea, let's do it, okay? But they're very ignorant about the implementation of building this train, all the surveys, the EPA, and the this, and the that, and this. And everybody's buddies are actually being paid off. It won't get built until they spend $4 or $5 million just figuring out how to build it. And then when they go to build it, they're going to have a budget for $1 billion, and they're going to spend $20 billion doing it, and it still won't work right. This is why the government needs to stay out of this stuff. If the free marketplace wants a bullet train from Los Angeles to Sacramento to wherever it's going to go, they'll build it. We don't have to have it. Otherwise, we're going to be subsidizing the maintenance and repairs and everything else for eternity on.
Thank you, Arnold.